is mid? No. I'm a pretty big Dragon Ball fan. You might have been able to guess that. More specifically, I love Budokai Tenkaichi 3. As a guy who owned Nintendo platforms for most of his early gaming years, Dragon Ball games were few and far between. The Wii only really had Tenkaichi 2, 3, and Revenge of King Piccolo. The latter, I have not finished yet. I lost my copy in the hyperbolic time chamber. You can probably blame Nintendo for this, given their stubborn reliance on sticking to outdated hardware, most likely deterring most third-party companies from forcing their games to run on the systems. So we got no burst limit, no infinite world, no raging blast, no Dragon Ball Evolution. It's a travesty, I know! We didn't even get the Budokai HD collection on the Wii, but the GameCube had Budokai 1, so it's not like it was completely out of the question. I mean, by that point, the Wii U was out. That being said, somehow, some way, I did manage to pick up a copy of Tenkaichi 3 as a kid, and it was such a gateway drug into the fever dream land that is Dragon Ball. My brother and I had so much fun playing this game. I remember replaying the Broly story mission so many times just to grind Dragon Balls and wish for new characters and stages, items, and maps. Mount Paozu goes fucking hard. It's got such an unmatched vibe. So you can imagine my surprise when I'm on the train to uni one day and fucking Budokai Tenkaichi 4 gets announced. Like, we just didn't think this was gonna happen. It had been like 15, 14 years? Like, fuck. Oh. I'm old now. That intro that I made, you know, on the inside, that's how I felt. We were so fucking back. I couldn't wait to get started. And as the days turned into weeks, turned into months, turned into a year, I think, and then trailer after trailer after trailer, we kept getting more and more information about what was coming in, characters, maps, fucking... And then the game released. For a very high price, Jesus Christ. But it came out, and I played it, and it was fucking... Oh! It was so good, the game was so... Oh my god. Okay, let's talk about what the game is good at. I wanna praise. I wanna glaze so bad right now. Okay, the game looks amazing. Obviously, it's not up to the standard of like fighters. It doesn't really look like the anime jumped off the screen or the manga jumped off the page, but it does look very good, and it's clearly like an iteration of what they were kind of going for in Budokai Tenkaichi 3. I feel like, at least. Like, BT3 is obviously, like, trying to kind of look like the anime, but you had to, like, wrap that to, like, a 3D model, and it didn't really look right. Whereas this is fully confident, I feel, in its aesthetic and, like, what it's going for. And I reckon it looks pretty good. It breaks the model sometimes to pull off cool shit. Okay, the game feels good to play. Game feel is always hard to talk about because game feel is, you feel it. Very subjective. BT3, in comparison now, feels very slow to play. I was kind of worried when we got trailers because I was like, oh shit, this game looks a little fast, and I don't know if like transition is gonna work all that way, and what's this new like dash move? That looks kind of cool, but it costs key. I don't like that. But it's very clear these are just different games. BT3 is a slower, more sort of methodical game. At least that's how I feel when I play it. Whereas Sparking Zero is more kind of fast-paced. There's a lot of things going on. A lot of buttons you gotta press. A lot of counters and shit. And it all blends together really well once you get the controls down. Okay, custom games mode is huge. Before the game even came out, I knew this was gonna be huge. Tenkaichi 3 had such a massive, like, modding scene of just people making their own custom battles and shit. Of course custom games mode was gonna go crazy. Splitting the story mode into 8 characters was a really good idea. Dragon Ball games have this... well, I guess all anime games have this issue. Anime games kind of have this issue where the story mode between each release is just the same story, of course. You can't really deviate from it unless you're telling an original story, like, Fighters or Xenoverse or whatever. And it gets boring to just go through, you know, fight Raditz, then fight Piccolo for training, then fight the Saiyans, and... Breaking it up like this so we only play as, like, the characters we want to for their stories is really kind of... It's an interesting way of doing it. I don't know if it's, like, better or not, but it's just different. And I will take different over the same story mode. Doing the story this way also allows for some really interesting what-ifs that you can really just, like, focus in on. You don't have to do, like, a whole complicated map that you've got to search, just one what-if mission If you've got a what if for Goku, you just go do Goku story, and you just find it. It's really simple. Character reworking is amazing, such as changing some characters' moves and whatever. Really funny example is that like Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Ultimate Gohan in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 were kind of the same character. They both had the same Kamehameha. They both had like super destructive wave. Their ultimates were different, but this led to them being just kind of very samey and similar. Whereas Goku and Gohan in this game now, yeah, they've still got a Kamehameha, they've still got like a rush attack, and they've still got, you know, like a rush ultimate, but they feel very different. And that's kind of the biggest hurdle for Budokai Tenkaichi games. All the characters feel the same, because they have a lot of the same combos, kinda, and the only way they feel unique is in their skills and their, like, abilities. So little things like this really go a long way in making each character feel unique. So, game's good, yes? I've got a secret for you. Game is mid. Game is mid as hell. This is a mid-ass game. This game is so mid, it midded all over my parents. I'm gonna say some really hurtful shit about this game, and I'm gonna be very mad about this game. Before I do, I just want you to know it comes from a place of love. I want this game to be the best it can be, because I'm such a fan of Budokai Tenkaichi 3. There is no Dragon Ball game like this on the market now. Xenoverse is like a weird RPG thing that I only play for the DLC missions because the stories are kind of interesting. That and to make fucked character builds. My main build right now is literally just Mario. Fighters is not like this. That's a traditional fighting game. Breakers? Yeah, remember Dragon Ball The Breakers? Fuck off. There's that new multi-project game or whatever it was called that looks kind of cool. I don't know. It's not fucking available in Australia for some reason. All that is to say, I desperately wanted a game like this where I can just shut my brain off, smash my action figures together. And in that regard, the game is fine. But given that Budokai Tenkaichi 3 came out in, what, 2008? And it's currently current year, my expectations were really high. Let's just go down the list. I've got a list of negatives. We're gonna knock them out one by one. Hey, first of all, the story mode. The story mode! Okay, story mode what-ifs are cool. It's so cool seeing a new spin put on a familiar story, and I loved them so much in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 as well, so of course they had to make a return. Now, the ones in-game are cool, but I feel like more could have been done. Some characters have some really lame what-ifs, like Jiren, who just has a different path, which basically comes down to he just fights different opponents. And I get it, Jiren was only introduced in the Tournament of Power, so you can't really tell like a big story with him, but like, there could have been something, I reckon. Some story modes start and end really arbitrarily. You've got Goku, of course, which goes all the way from start of Z to end of Super, because that makes sense. But then you've got characters like Gohan, who start in the hyperbolic time chamber. You just didn't want to cover any of the Namek material? You didn't want to do any like fun what-ifs of Gohan in the Namek material? Piccolo is even weirder. He starts at the end of Saiyan Saga, like you'd expect, but then he ends at the midpoint of the Cell Saga. His final mission is his fight against Android 17. Why? I get that he's not that prevalent for the rest of the series, but you didn't want to put some, like, really cool, long-winded what-if at the end of it, maybe, that takes him through to Buu Saga? Or what about covering some of his stuff in the Tournament of Power? What about making him a more prevalent character? Again, I get he doesn't really do much after Cell, but I just felt like kind of a waste. Even some of the what-ifs are kind of, like, mid. There's some really cool what-ifs where you get some cool shit like Gohan Black, or early Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta, or future Trunks participating in the Tournament of Power. These are really cool. But some of these, like Jiren, are just fucking lame. Piccolo has one where he goes into the hyperbolic time chamber with Gohan and trains him to fight Cell, and that's pretty cool. But if you look on the face of it, of like what a what-if could be, it doesn't really change much. Like, he just beats Cell and Goku lives. I mean, I guess that changes the story somewhat. And it's weird that that what-if just kind of ends there. That could have continued into Buu Saga stuff, with Piccolo further mentoring Gohan. I don't know. I feel like there was kind of some missed potential. And I know it's a bit selfish to ask for more what-ifs after some of them are so lengthy and whatnot, but I don't know, I was kind of really sold on the what if idea from all the marketing, and yeah, I wish there were more, because what we got was kind of good, and I just left me wanting more. Local co-op! I was gonna complain about how split screen co-op in this game was dead, but they did actually patch that. It does show that this game was originally more of an online-focused game, and it's just more death of couch co-op stuff in this online live service microtransaction hellscape. But I'm glad that at the last minute, they decided to put split screen in, and I'm extremely glad that even post-launch they decided to patch it some more and let you actually play on different maps than the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Reuse sound clips! So I like the Japanese voice actors way more than the English ones, right? It's just a preference. It's not like, whatever, it's sub versus dub. I don't give a shit for all that. I don't care about all that shit. I just like the Japanese voices better. But there is a weird issue with some voice lines where they are extremely muffled and extremely low quality. I think what happened is that they just pulled some from some earlier games. It mainly seems to be kind of the extra characters, a lot of the movie characters and, you know, like the GT stuff and whatnot. And it only seems to happen in the Japanese language as well. I tried it in English, and I think the English cast just did new voice lines for everything. I don't think there was any reused lines. I could be wrong. I haven't played with the English voice actors on a lot, so I could be wrong. But, you know, I'm talking specifically about the Japanese. I think they reused some voice lines, and I think that just kind of sucks. You know, when the game is expensive as it is, I'm kind of hoping that, you know, what I'm getting is something new and not something I bought in 2008. It's not that big of a deal, but it pulls me out. Because everything else in the game is so high quality, and then you get these old muffled recordings, and it's like... And some of them are really weird. Like, you had Masako Nozawa come in and record new lines for Tullece, but you didn't get her to do the rest of Tullece's lines. She was already in the booth. Why? I know Nozawa has a lot of characters to voice, but it's just weird to me. Same with Cooler. He shares Freezer's voice actor. You didn't want to, like, have him say a couple lines while you had him in the booth? Just like, no, just a handful for character interactions. Okay, bye. It's just, it's a weird choice. I don't get it. Really. Custom games mode! Okay. Custom games mode. I fucking love custom games mode so much. I reckon it's the best thing out of this whole game, but it's not without its issues. Not all characters can be used in all 3D scenes. For example, giant characters like Hirudegan, any of the Great Apes, can't use them in any scenes. I wanted to do like a Godzilla vs. Kong thing where I had like a Great Ape fight Hirudegan, or maybe Ani Laza, I don't know. But you can't use any of the giant characters in the cutscenes. Why? Even in the ones where it's only got one player. Why? I don't get it. I don't get that. That's so incredibly weird to me. Why is that a limitation? Some characters as well are just missing animations. Z Broly doesn't have a get-up animation. And some animations, you can't use every animation in every scene. I get it for some stuff, like flurry rushes and stuff where the character is scripted to land and all that. But the dialogue selector is fucking hot garbage. I'm sorry. Whoever decided that they were going to put over 5,000 lines of dialogue in this thing, and the only way you can search for them is through filters? I'd love to see the board meeting where that fucking happened. That decision was made. It should be noted that in the most recent patch, they added in a way to filter it alphabetically, and this does help, because you have a very rough idea of where shit is. But is it really that hard to just put in a search bar? The issue is so bad, someone had to make a website for this. Just so you could find dialogue and what the best filter options were to find it. What the fuck? We've got some more weird limitations. For examples, cutscenes being limited to 5 shots. Why can you only have 3 lines of dialogue per shot? Why can't I stack screen effects, like if I want to do black and white with speed lines on top? Why do guest characters eat into the fighter roster and vice versa? Why can't I pick transformations of characters for cutscenes and instead I have to waste guest slots on different forms of the same character? Why can't all text options be used for all text responses? You can't play custom mode battles with DLC you don't own. Now, this has been a problem since day one because of, you know, pre-order DLC like Power Pole Goku and Daima Goku, and it's just, oh, this actually pisses me off so much. Okay. Custom games mode is harmless, right? You're not going to be getting the full of a DLC just because you play as that character in custom games mode. Most people are going to play DLC characters like in online battle and stuff. I don't see the point why they gatekeep DLC like this. Like, I get it, alright? You didn't pay the DLC, you don't get the character. But not letting other people play custom games because they don't own the DLC is fucking stupid. The game has the files. You will fight against people with DLC you don't own online. Other fighting games do it. This game definitely does it. I don't see the point in not needing to own the DLC for just custom battles. You should be able to use these characters. If not to create custom battles, fine, I get that. But you should be able to play custom battles at least with these characters if you don't own the DLC. Hey, side note, while I was getting footage, I did play a custom battle where I played against Super Goku with his power pole. I don't own that DLC. I don't own any of the game's DLC. So it's arbitrary. It counts, but it doesn't. I'm pretty sure the music packs affect this as well. There was one mission that I couldn't play, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't play it. There were no DLC characters on it, so I just assume it must have been because of the music. You can set music from the music packs to play while fighting, and I assume that's what happened. And I just think that's really stupid. And the creator of that custom battle has a duplicate of it uploaded, which I assume is the same thing, just without the DLC music. If that's what we're having to do to circumvent DLC, that's fucking stupid. You can't force clashes of any kind. So no beam clashes, no grab clashes, none of that. I think you should be able to. Missing characters! Okay, the game is missing a lot of characters, and I know that's a lot to say about a roster this big, but no OG Dragon Ball characters apart from Goku Teen. I do not count any of the costumes, like Master Roshi or Yamcha. Those are the Z and Super versions of those characters, just in a different costume. GT characters as well. Missing characters that were in the previous Tenkaichi games. It's the same with OG Dragon Ball. There's like, you know, what? No fucking Spike the Devilman? You're a bitch. But GT characters. No Nova Shenron. No Ice Shenron. We've got Baby, I guess. I'm forgetting the GT characters. It's not that big of a loss, honestly. I think literally from previous game, it's just Nova Shenron, but I don't see why we couldn't have had more. But, yeah, whatever. Missing some Saiyan transformations. You could argue about whether these actually matter or not, but like Bardock Great Ape, Nappa Great Ape, Tullece Great Ape, Kid Goku Great Ape, I will actually argue you should have put that in. What the fuck? And I know a lot of these are like, who gives a shit? A lot of them were copy-paste in Tenkaichi 3 anyway, but I mean, I feel like you could have put them in. If they are so copy and paste, it wouldn't have been, you know, that hard. What if characters? No what if characters in the roster. Why? They're in the game. Why not put them on the roster, unlock them after you've beaten the what if mission? Be a nice reward. You already unlock characters from playing the story mode, and outfits. So that means you're missing out on like early Super Saiyan Vegeta, Gohan Black. You're missing out on versions of characters with different movesets, such as like early Goku before he learnt the Kaioken. And look, whether you like actually play these characters or not, I don't really care. I'm mainly pissed about this because I want them for like custom games mode shit. I just feel like they should have been included. I don't see why not. You didn't even have to make a whole new character slot for them. You could have just set these as like alternate skins that just change the movesets. Like is already in the game. Okay, there are some weird costume omissions in this game, but they prioritized some really meaningless ones. They made sure that there was a version of early Vegeta with and without the toe lines, but they don't have End of Z Goku. What the fuck? Let's talk about limited color options. So when you make a game like this, you're gonna run into mirror matches, especially in a franchise like this where just everyone loves Goku. And ideally, you have a system set up where players can pick different characters or a different skin so they can differentiate themselves. Now, a lot of characters do have alternate skins, but a lot don't. And what I thought was really cool about Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is that every character, to my memory, had an alternate skin. You know, sometimes they were a new costume, but sometimes they were just like a fun recolor. Sometimes they were a fucking Easter egg. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had this feature. Fighter Z, of course, had this feature. Battler Z just straight up lets you pick whatever colors you wanted. There's a mod that lets you do the same thing. I think Sparking Zero should let you do the same. I don't know. I don't see why not. The game's got lackluster accessory customization as it is. That was a segue because holy shit! 10 accessory slots with nothing to accessorize with. Most characters in the game will have no accessory items at all. And the ones that do, at most, have like 1 to 2. Why was this even here? You tease this in the marketing like it's some sort of like Tekken or Soul Calibur character customizer thing, and it's just nothing. Fucking Fortnite-ass customization screen. Why did you even bother? Let's talk about the price. Ugh. I hate talking about price because everything I like is getting expensive and it's getting a bit hard to just enjoy shit. Alright, let's talk about the price. Here in Australia, the base edition for Sparking Zero is $99.95. That is 100 bones. That is a lot of money. That is an exuberant amount of money during, you know, what is basically an Aussie financial crisis, cost of living. Whatever. I get it, it's a Bandai Namco game, it's gonna be expensive, but fuck off, how about that? And it gets worse as well, the deluxe edition is $145. The Ultimate Edition is $160. Where are they getting these prices from? You know, for the longest time, I didn't think they were gonna do this, and I just wanted like a HD collection of the Budokai Tenkaichi games. Just 1 to 3, all in HD, all on Steam. Now I'm not sure I do, because if they did that, I'm pretty sure they'd release them for fucking $100. DLC is really kind of against the whole spirit of Tenkaichi. Tenkaichi comes from an era of games where they just released, and you got the game. You didn't pay DLC for more. I mean, some games back then had DLC, but not like this. Or maybe they did. I don't fucking care. Trying to say is, I think it's kind of against the spirit of Tenkaichi to release new characters and new maps in a DLC form. Whereas if this was truly Budokai Tenkaichi 4, you would just unlock these characters by getting the Dragon Balls and wishing for new characters. I don't see why we're being kind of nickeled and dimed, especially for characters that are, like, they're known already. Like, we're getting Daima stuff, we're getting, like, superhero stuff. Superhero's old now. I'm not old, but, like, it's been known. Why are you nickel-diming it? Daima, I get, it's just coming out, it's peak. And the music packs, okay. This does actually piss me off. So, for those who don't know, Japanese Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had recreations of Kikuchi's music as the OST. They were bad recreations, but they were recreations. The songs from the show were in the game, and I liked that. To then repackage some of Kikuchi's music and some music from other parts of the franchise into 2 music packs and sell both of them for, what, like $20? $23 a pop. To do that is a bit fucking ridiculous. $50 for 23 songs. And they're not even full rips. They're TV length. Some song cuts are really weird. Everyone's complaining about Blizzard and how when the good part of the song starts, sparking mode ends. I don't get it, because Super's fucking Limit Breaker is in the game. Limit Breaker is the game's theme. It's what it opens with. It is the game's main theme. Apart from the fucking who gives a shit, right? Limit Breaker is basically the game's main theme. That's a super track. Why was that not in the DLC? Why was that included? Why are the rest of these tracks in the DLC? I don't get it. They keep doing this. They did it with Fighters. They did it with Xenoverse. I fucking hate it. I just want to listen to Kikuchi's music in a Dragon Ball game because it's good music. So before the game came out, there was a lot of talk from the developers of saying how the game was, you know, in the spirit of Tenkaichi 3, the game was like not balanced traditionally, as you would like a traditional fighting game. Yet here we are, a couple patches out, and characters are getting patched with balance. Balance in a game like this is not bad, okay? But it raises a question, Who is this game for? Is the game for casuals who just want their sit-home, smack their toys together Dragon Ball game? Or is it for sweats that want to play online and go to tournaments? Official Bandai Namco tournaments suggest that the game is made for sweats. But, if you actually watch those tournaments, you can see the game was not built for sweats. It was not built with the same levels of balance that a normal fighting game has. I bring these points up because whether you're making a game for casuals or sweats will influence how you make the whole game. And I see a lot of stuff in this game that is both for casuals and sweats, and it's not really kind of working out, in my opinion. I want to get to, like, my main point at the end of this is that I don't think this game is Budokai Tenkaichi 4. In spirit, it is not. This game is as Tenkaichi as Resident Evil 2 Remake is Resident Evil 2. We're in such a different time. Oh my god, Tenkaichi 3 came out in 2007? I've been saying 2008 this whole time? Fuck. Oh. We are in such a different time in the games industry than where we were in 2007. Games were made for very different reasons, for very different crowds. They weren't trying to be these big online fucking events. I kind of just miss that time. And I feel like the changing of those times has led to Sparking Zero being only kind of half good as it could have been. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the game. Game is... Five out of 10.